And I'm so glad. So, everyone, this is Lisa. Welcome, Lisa, to our call
Thank
tonight.
you.
Yeah, so we're going to dive into getting to know you a little bit better
Great.
and hearing about your journey because we have so many women on here right now that I know are kind of feeling that pressure to feel better. Like, we've tried the meds, we've tried all the stuff, and we just don't know what to do anymore. So, before we dive into all the greatness, I'd kind of like them to know a little bit more about you. So, can you kind of take me back to when things before the Freedom from Migraine Method, how they looked for you before starting the program, what you were
Sure.
dealing with, not just the migraines, but your overall health day to day?
I had my first migraine at 17 years old, and I had just started my period. So I was very late at getting started. And then I never had another one after the pregnancy of my second child. And then I started having them 15 to 20 a month. And I had them continuously until I got pregnant again. And after I had Megan, my youngest, I never had another one till in my early 40s.
Wow.
And then I started having them really bad. So bad that I would throw up for 4, 5, 6 days on end, end up in the hospital because I was dehydrated and just in a really bad way. So finally, after many emergency visits, the doctor said to me, "You have to go see a neurologist. This is
Hmm.
just out of hand."
Hmm.
So I live in a remote part of Colorado in Durango, and we're pretty rural, and we have one neurologist in the whole town.
Oh,
And
geez.
she was pretty quirky lady, but she was great because she talked to me about options and right out of the gate she wanted to put me on a lot of medication and I didn't want to go that route.
Hmm.
So I was doing Imitrex at the time and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't,
Hmm.
but always it made me feel worse the next day. I always felt like I had a hangover
Yeah.
afterwards. So she said, well, we've had some women that I've sent to a nutritionist in town and they've had some luck with that. So I said, I'll try it. I was desperate. I'll try it.
Hmm.
So I went and I became a paleo. This was about 10 years, 12 years ago. And I
Okay.
full on did it, just dove in and did it. And it was great. I still had migraines, but they weren't as bad.
Hmm.
And they were usually less than 3 to 4 a month. So I
Okay.
was surviving,
Yeah,
but
I was going to say
still,
3 to 4 a month is still a lot. Let's multiply that out.
yeah,
What if we have four? That's 48. So that's
yeah,
still over a month of your life. But yes, I can understand why you would say it was better in comparison to
yeah.
15 to 20 a month.
Right. But it still wasn't where I wanted to be. But I kept doing my paleo, watching what I ate, not drinking alcohol, being a good girl. And when I turned 60, I finally stopped having a period. So I was very late going through
Wow.
menopause also. Yeah, my OBGYN loves to tell people that I was their oldest patient ever to in
It's
menopause.
actually
But
health-wise not a bad thing. It
yeah,
really isn't.
yeah.
Rare,
But
but not a bad
then
thing.
but then the migraines just got out of hand again. I was really thinking, oh, I'm going to go, finished with my monthly and I'm going to be great and my migraines are going to disappear. Well, the opposite happened and I started having 10, 15 a month or more. And last October, my husband and I had planned this European visit that we've been planning for a lifetime.
Mhm.
And I started having daily migraines and including vertigo, the throwing up again, the nausea, unable to sleep. I was lucky if I was sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night. It was just bad. And we had really talked about not going because I wanted to go and enjoy and not be stuck in a hotel room because I
Yeah,
felt
well, and
so
let's face
bad.
it, a European trip, you're not going and sitting on a beach
Yeah,
and chilling. You're going from museum to monument to, you're moving around.
right. Yeah. So I was really upset. And one day I was scrolling through Facebook and I heard your voice. And I
Oh,
stopped and said, what? She was a migraine sufferer and she's no longer suffering. So I came to some of your, webinars like this and I listened at your podcast and you all reached out and I said no at first because I
mhm.
tried so many things.
Yep, yep.
And my husband's the one who said, you're worth it. You need to try it. It's worth a try. So here I am.
So that was the thing that made you move forward. It was really
Yeah,
your husband
it really
encouraging
was
you.
my husband. Yeah,
Do you know how
yeah.
many times I hear that? And I know you said you tried so many things and that's why you were skeptical. But here you were, you went to events, you saw other women that were getting results, but you weren't able to kind of pull that trigger for yourself.
No,
It happens so often, doesn't it? For some
yeah.
reason, we cannot put ourselves first. We're like, no, I already tried enough. I can't try something else. It's so hard for us. So thank goodness you had your husband there to kind of almost kick you in the pants.
Yeah, well, and I retired 5 years ago, and I was lucky to do that, and he's still working. So part of me was like, this isn't fair. He's going to be footing the bill, and I'm going to be, I'm home. But he was so supportive. So
Yeah.
still is.
Yeah. And I can understand why you think that way, but I always try to remind myself that in a marriage, there's moments where somebody's making money, somebody's not, somebody's doing more of the housework, so to speak, somebody's not,
Yeah.
right? It is that compromise, but for some reason, as women, we think we don't need that extra help. We
Yeah.
we can do it. We can tough it out on our own. We can figure it out on our own. But yeah, your husband's the sweetest. I'm so glad that he kind of pushed you in this direction to
Me too.
to
He's
get
thrilled.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, let's just, I know that's something I didn't say necessarily we're going to talk about, but let's hit on that. How does he feel now in comparison to before the program?
Well, he sees me and he sees the person that I used to be. So
Mm-hmm.
I really, to be honest with you, I think I told you this, Debbie, the last 10 years I've looked in the mirror and said, I don't know who this person is. I
Yeah,
just didn't feel right.
yeah.
Nothing felt right in my body. I gained, some quite a bit of weight for myself. I was tired all the time. I just
Mhm.
felt awful. And he said, "Welcome back." So
Oh,
yeah, I have
uh,
energy to do things. I can, I play with my grandchildren and I'm not exhausted from that. Life is good.
yeah. And you went on that trip.
I did 16 days without a migraine. That was my first long stretch without a headache for a long time. And
Yeah.
it's pretty much stayed that way. I've had a handful since October.
Hmm.
And I feel wonderful. And, I was still having daily prodromes all the time. And those have pretty much, I still get them occasional. The last couple days I've had some again,
Hmm.
but for the most part, those are disappearing too. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually love prodromes. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, a prodrome is kind of that warning sign that you're either in the early stages of a migraine or a migraine's coming. And there are non-pain prodromes and pain prodromes. And I still get prodromes. There are days where all of a sudden, I mean, who doesn't feel it, right? If we felt it before, that neck tension, it's going up here, and I'm like, oh, that is what used to warn me that the migraine was coming. But the great thing is it is an alarm. It's like a fire alarm. Hey, warning, do something, get out, pay attention. And then now Lisa and I know how to make those shifts so that the migraine doesn't come. Or if it does happen to sneak through, we can get rid of it so much faster, so much easier. And it feels almost more like a headache versus a migraine. And that's what we're looking for each and every one of you. And that's our definition of migraine freedom, right? It does not mean that you will never feel anything again because we're human beings. We are going to feel things. We are going to make choices, which we're going to talk about in just a second, Lisa, cheating versus choices. But that's okay because we have these amazing prodromes. So Lisa's experiencing them less because her migraine threshold is so high. But if she does experience them, they're not a bad thing. They're that nice little warning. So let me know in chat, anybody, if you're watching, if you're starting to notice those prodromes and if you know how to use those to kind of help you out. So Lisa, you did mention, choices, and I know this is a word that you and I talked about quite a bit, and I kind of told you that one thing that stood out was, we're not cheating when we make a choice, right? So can you talk kind of about that shift of how that changed in the way that you approach your health?
It really helped me to hear that because I realized that I have the power and the control back, and
Hmm.
I can make the decisions that impact my life. And
Yeah.
once in a while, I want to go out with my girlfriends and have a cocktail. And
Hmm.
I go knowing that, oh, maybe this could be one that pushes me over the edge. But what I do is I work really hard on all those other keys before I go out. So I'm making
Yes.
sure I'm eating the right things, I'm getting a good night's sleep, I've done some exercise, I've taken some mindfulness time for me so that when I do go have that drink, it doesn't push me over the edge anymore. So,
Absolutely. And this could be anything, right? It doesn't have to be alcohol. This could be you're going to a birthday party and you want to have that piece of cake, or you're getting together with your girlfriends and you want to go to the concert that normally bothers you, right? We're making these choices within what we call the inducers, the migraine freedom inducers, and there's six keys, as Lisa mentioned, and we get to choose how we implement those to be able to allow us to live our lives because we don't want to feel restricted, right? I mean, I think Lisa, I don't remember exactly how you said it, but I remember when I first met you, you talking about, Debbie, I've taken this out of my diet. I've taken this out of my diet. I've done this. I've done that. Like you felt like the way you were saying it to me, I could tell you felt like, please don't make me do anything else. Like, can you
well,
tell me how to
and
do this?
I want to live my life and be, a human. And
Yeah.
I want to be able to have something that I shouldn't have once in a while, and it's okay.
And again, it's not something we shouldn't have, right? I mean, we can
Right.
all sit here and say alcohol's not healthy for us, sugar's not healthy for us. We know that. But you know what? Getting my nails done isn't healthy for me. Sitting in front of a computer with EMF isn't healthy for me.
Yeah.
Touching my pen or pencil that is plastic isn't healthy for me. We just pick and choose, what we know our body can handle and make responsible choices from there, which is what you're doing. And that's why you
Yeah, I
feel
remember early on you asking me, is there anything that's non-negotiable for you? And that's what I said, my nails.
Exactly. And for me, it's my hair. If my prodrome started coming a lot and I was like, okay, do I have to get rid of some things? I would totally get rid of my nails. But ladies, I'm gray. My mother turned gray at 30. My sister turned gray at like 32. So I'm just not ready. And that's okay, right? Because I can keep my threshold high and we can both do the things that we want to do. And I always love your nails. You always pick such great colors. The green you had for St. Patrick's Day. And it's just fun. It's fun to know that we don't have to live this restricted life and we can do something for ourselves.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I think this has been big for me in the program. All of us women are like this, right? We always do for others and we think about ourselves last. And I was telling you this earlier that, Saturday I kind of woke up and I had some prodromes and I didn't feel so great. And it kind of felt like a migraine could be coming. And I
Mm-hmm.
decided to make it a Lisa day. And I didn't do anything. I sat on the couch and I binge watched TV. I mean, that's what I did. And I
I
just
love
hung
it.
out and rested and, petted my doggie while she laid on my lap. And I didn't feel guilty about it.
Yeah. Because you know what you did? You listened to your body's signal.
Yeah.
And
And,
how
we
many of
can't
us
always do that. I get that.
correct, right? Like you were, if I'm not mistaken, you were an educator before, right?
Yep.
So when you were teaching, there was no way that you could just say, I'm sorry, students, I feel like going and watching Virgin River right now because I'm
Yeah.
getting a migraine. I'll be back. But that still doesn't mean that we can't find a way to honor ourselves as much as we can because pushing through doesn't get us anywhere.
No.
It just creates more inflammation. It keeps the cycle going. And that's why it's so imperative to, as quickly as possible, figure out how to reduce that inflammation so that we don't have to push through as much. So Lisa, I do remember this about you as well. It wasn't just the migraines that got better in the program. I'm thinking of one thing that I know
Yeah.
you talked about quite a bit. So what were those things that really improved for
Oh
you
man.
besides?
There's a lot and they keep finding them all the time. But definitely my sleep. I'm no longer sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night. I most nights get 7 or 8. Some nights 5 or 6, but usually 7 or 8. My skin. I had these really dry, awful forever since I've been a
Mhm.
young girl on my arms, and that's gone. I've lost 12 pounds, which I
Yikes.
wasn't even intending to do. Um, gosh, there's so many. Oh, I still have it. I get ear ringing, like tinnitus, pretty rough
Hmm.
sometimes, but it's less than it was.
Hmm.
So it's better. And I had vertigo terrible when I started the program, and I don't have that anymore. So. Lots of, oh, neck pain. I can't believe I didn't mention the neck pain. I had constant neck pain
Yeah.
that's for the last 20 years. And
Hmm.
I literally saw a chiropractor once a month, whether I needed to or not,
Yep.
for an adjustment. And I've done that, I've done dry needling, acupuncture, massage, everything. And I'm not going anymore because I don't have any neck pain. It's gone. Yeah.
Just so great.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful because in the Freedom from Migraine method, even though you ladies come to me because you want me to help you find your migraine freedom, I know that you're going to leave a healthier version of yourself because that inflammation is at the root of everything you just listed, you
Yeah.
know. But we want this big answer, don't we? Like for me, Debbie, your neck, there's an issue with it. Like we need an X-ray, we need a scan or MRI. We need to figure out what the problem is. Well, it was a prodrome. I mean, I spent over $5,000 trying to figure out what was wrong with my neck, and it was literally inflammation. It's like reduce the inflammation, and guess what happens? The neck pain goes away. So it's so nice. And I know there's some women here listening tonight who've had very similar circumstances, pain in their feet that was massive and couldn't figure out why, and gone because you reduced the inflammation. So these women that are here, I know they're probably thinking right now, well, that's you, Lisa. That's great. I can't, it's not going to work for me, because why would it work for me? Nothing else has. So what would you say to someone who is feeling stuck right now and is worried that nothing will work for them? Because the famous phrase they all say to me, every single one of them, I have tried everything.
Everything. I too had tried most everything. And I had the same doubts and reservations, but I knew I didn't want to live the rest of my life like this. And I just took it on and said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try it. What do I have to lose?
Hmm.
And I'm just going to give it 100%. I'm going to do everything that I can do. And then if it doesn't work, then I can honestly say I've tried everything, right? And I think it's like that adage that I always told my college students when I taught, you get out of this class what you put into it.
Hmm.
And if you want to give 100%, you're going to get something back. And, maybe migraine freedom isn't going to be no more migraines. And I'm realistic about that. I know I'm
Hmm.
going to have migraines again. And I
Hmm.
always had mine with aura. So I always knew because I got the visual. Um, and I know that's going to happen again. I'm no doubt that I'm probably going to have a migraine again, but it's okay because I have tools now that I can fight using, and I don't take meds. I don't take any meds anymore. And so I would say if it's worth it, even if you got down to 2 or 3 migraines a month, or you got off all the meds that you are on because of your headaches, or you are sleeping better. I mean, I think there's value in it all. So
Yeah. And migraine freedom takes time. We're
there,
talking about a
yes.
snapshot of time. So what have you been with me? 6 months
Since
now?
October, yeah, 6 months. Yeah.
Okay. So think about the amount of years that back and forth. So since you were 17, back
Yep.
and forth, you went through migraines. You said you were
I'm
60?
60, I'll be 64.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be what, like a little less than 50 years? A
Yeah.
little less than 50 years. So in 6 months, you've been able to take yourself to this level. So, like you said, if a migraine shows up in 3 months from now or a month from now, less in severity, less in duration, less in frequency, your body's healthier. As time goes on, those are going to lessen and lessen and lessen,
Yeah.
unless you have made specific choices to bring those on. Right? Because that is the key thing.
Correct.
We get to make those choices.
Yeah.
We get to decide, like you said, are we going to go out and have the drink with friends? Are we going to stay up too late, do too many things in one day? Those are all choices. But the amazing thing is if you make them and it happens to maybe not be the right choice for the day, you've got the tools to bring yourself back quickly and not end up in the ER. And having to ruin a whole weekend. Maybe it takes an hour or two to get back on track, or if a Saturday on the couch. But you can do it. And
Yeah.
that's the great thing.
Well, and as you know, I'm going through some, stress right now with the big move. I'm going to be
Yes.
moving closer to family and being with my grandchildren. And I'm just thrilled too that, I'm going to be able to do things with them and not have to say, oh, they call me Gaga. Gaga can't come out with you today because she doesn't feel good. So I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to take a quick peek at the chat and see what everybody has to say over here. And then maybe while I do that, you can think, Lisa, if there's anything else we didn't talk about that you want to mention. Jerry says, that's me. I've had a headache all day, every day, regardless of meds. I need a lifestyle change. Yeah. And I kind of didn't bring this up, so I do want to hit on that. When you ladies say that you've tried everything, we have to put that into two categories. So there's trying things that are management tools, symptom suppression, things that we're utilizing to try to reduce the pain. And then there are things over here that are root cause, trying to get to the root, trying to figure out what the problem is. So a medication is, something where we're symptom suppressing. Changing our diet is working towards the root cause. So really, when we say that we've tried everything, we really have to think about that, like how much work have we done on that root cause? Or of a lot of the things that we've been doing over the years, have they been symptom suppression, which of course we need, right? I mean, Lisa, can you imagine going through, migraines 15 days plus a month and having no tools at your disposal, no ice, no heat, no essential oils or medication or a dark room or whatever. I mean, we need some tools, but the tools are only going to get us so far. We need to be able to get to that root. So, Jerry, you are right. Working towards those lifestyle changes the way that works for you is going to be key. And Angie's saying, I'm starting to learn about my prodromes and recognizing them for what they are, a warning. Absolutely. They are that smoke detector, that's letting you know you got to figure something out. It is time to see what's going on. So amazing. Everybody, if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in chat. We're going to kind of wrap up in the next few minutes, but if there's something that we can answer for you, please let us know. So, on that note, Lisa, is there anything else that we didn't cover that you would like to share with these ladies?
I think that for me, what was very valuable in the program was the Women's Freedom from Migraine Method Facebook group.
Hmm.
So, you can post in there questions or comments and I started to learn a lot about, oh, that's a prodrome. I didn't think that was a prodrome, or oh, I didn't think about that. Or so, I mean, even if I didn't always ask the question, I learned from the other participants. And
Yeah.
so I think that's been a really big plus for me these last 6 months too, is I've learned so much.
Yeah, yeah. And I think a couple of the people that are here right now, we have a few Freedom from Migraine Method members here. And I can think of one right off the top of my head who I know keeps mentioning, I'm learning so much. And this was someone who said, I kind of know it all. I'm the researcher. There's nothing else you can tell me, but I'm desperate, Debbie, so I'm going to give this a chance. And, you know, I know what's going to happen. I know the women are going to say, I didn't know that. I never thought about that. I'm so glad that I got to learn this. And it's no one's fault that you don't know it. It's just not information that's right in your face. And we live, eat, and breathe this 24/7, my team and I, so we're used to this and we're so glad that we can share it with each and every one of you. Anne is asking if we have a recording. Yes. Am I recording? Yes, I am recording. So we'll make sure that we share this for you. Well, thank you, Lisa. Thank you so
You're
much for
welcome.
taking the time to share your story with everyone. And if anyone is watching this on the replay and you have questions, just reach out. Jump in the Women's Migraine Freedom Facebook group. Just post your questions in there. We will make sure that we monitor it. We will answer, anything that you have because it's so important for you to have the knowledge that you need, to have the support that you need so that you can get the results that you're looking for. Like Lisa kind of hinted to, it kind of takes a village. It takes a village. And the Freedom from Migraine Method, we are what I feel like is a very close-knit family. You have a group of 50 plus women working towards the same goal who outside of this group kind of felt alone. You're not surrounded by people that have migraines, and to be able to have that community space where not only are you going to have the coaches to get the knowledge, but the women who are working right alongside you, in my opinion, is priceless. And that's why we've kind of built it up this way.
Yep. All of that's really good stuff.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Amanda, you are more than welcome. Thank you so much, everyone, for being
Thank
here
you.
tonight. I will see all of you in the Women's Migraine Freedom Group. And here's to your migraine freedom, everybody. Thanks again, Lisa. Take care.